morning, dear friends. It's such a joy to meet you all again through this month's devotion. For today's devotion, I have taken the passage from Judges chapter 8, verses 1 to 3. Then the Ephraimites said to Gideon, "Why did you leave us out of this, not calling us when you went to fight Midian?" They were indignant and let him know it. But Gideon replied, "What have I done compared to you? Why, even the gleanings of Ephraim are superior to the vintage of Abiezer. God gave you Midian's commanders, Oreb and Zeb. What have I done compared with you?" When they heard this, they calmed down and cooled off. Uh, Here we see that God had chosen Gideon to fight the Midianites. And based on the guidelines given by God, Gideon has fought them and he has won over them, and he is coming back victorious. And at that time, this Ephraimites, they are meeting him, and they are showing their indignance, and they are asking him, "Why didn't you consult with us? Why didn't you include us in this?" And in this, if we see Gideon, the way Gideon responded is what we are going to learn from. Gideon's demonstration of his character, which has come splendidly in his answer. Okay, the way he responded, it was very humble, and it was not judgmental, and it was not showing off his pride, which could have come because he has just won a great victory. Okay, and but we see the way Gideon dealt with this situation. We can learn many lessons from this small incident in his life. One is the way he responded to them was filled with prudence and grace, and he could have brought in a civil war if he had not been so prudent. And he avoided that by demonstrating his humble character. He was not proud to show off the glory of his victory. So this character within him helped him to give a soft answer to the wrath that was ahead of him. So we read in Proverbs 15:1, right? A soft answer turns away the wrath. That is what we see, how his answer turned his wrath. We read in the third verse, right? When they heard this, they calmed down and cooled off. So here we see a nice strategy of how Gideon applied. He glorified them instead of glorifying himself. He reminded them of their victory rather than the fresh victory that was at hand currently. So this way of moving themselves away from the victory that he had won to the victory that they had won already. This strategy could come there only because of his nature of humility. Okay, and one of the reasons that that this humility was demonstrated in him, that is in the way he responded, was he did not glory on his victory because he knew how he was and how God had strengthened him to get that victory. So all his focus was on what God did for him, and because of what God did in the battlefield, this victory was won. So his focus was not at all on himself. So even in our life, if we see, nobody is going to admire our pride, our envy, jealousy. But at the same time, people recognize humility, gentleness, and forbearance, and they also admire self-control and patience, like especially patience under provocation. And when we try to withhold our private feelings for the sake of the public good, all these are admired more than ourselves showing of how much victory we have won, how much we have got blessings. In Christian terms, we say, "I received this blessing. I received this blessing." Instead of that, if we can demonstrate the character of Jesus in our lives, then we show that the old man inside of us is put off, and we have adorned the new life that God has given us. When I say this, I remember I want us to see through this verse in Second Corinthians chapter 5 verse 18 and 19. In 17, Paul says, when if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. And what happens, what we should be doing when we become a new creation is what is given in the next two verses. I'll read this out from here. All this comes from the God who settled the relationship between us and Him, and then called us to settle our relationships with each other. God put the world square with Himself through the Messiah, giving the world a fresh start by offering forgiveness of sins. God has given us the task of telling everyone what He is doing. We are Christ's representatives. God uses us to persuade men and women to drop their differences and enter into God's work of making things right between them. So, this thought needs to be in us. We are Christ's ambassadors in this world, and when we remember that whatever we have got, like the forgiveness from God, is because of what God initiated, not because of what we wanted. So, when we have this thought within us, we will also definitely be people, peacemakers, reconciling man to God, like how we were reconciled with God. So, thanking you all. Have a great day. May God bless each one of us.